Kingdom Hearts is a horrifying game. Planetary apocalypses, zombie-like creatures, human experimentation. The series has a reputation for being a fun little romp through classic Disney movies, playing as Final Fantasy OCs with size 37 shoes. But I assure you, the game is nightmarishly creepy. As a kid, sitting in the dark in front of the mesmerizing glow of a CRT television, I was shook, not gonna lie. And that uncanny feeling starts from the moment you pick up the game's box. The box art is hauntingly gorgeous. All of the lead characters are on top of a building in this spooky, gothic-looking town in the dead of night with the glow of that stunning heart-shaped moon in the background. It's amazing. While I do like the other box arts in the later games, I don't think any box art in the series has ever even come close to the original. This one with its foreboding atmosphere, it just hits different. But don't think the mysterious vibes are over, because it's still going strong from the moment you start up the game. Usually when you power on a game, they have, some sort of jingle to credit the people involved in the creation of the game. A familiar tune to get you warmed up for the game. But Kingdom Hearts? Just silence. And once we get to the title screen, the sound of waves in the background as a soft, melancholic piano piece plays. The title screen is incredibly simple, but that's what makes it so mesmerizing. I could sit here for hours, or until the game randomly starts playing a movie. Once you click on New Game, it just straight up asks you if you want to play on normal mode or expert mode. It doesn't say what's different in each mode, how challenging each mode is, what sort of skill levels required for each one. No. It just asks you, are you a baby or a man with some hair on his chest? You already know what I'm gonna do. We start off with an opening cutscene with our protagonist, Sora, falling. He's gonna be doing a lot of that, so get your shot glasses ready for every time that happens. Because it happens less than a minute later when Sora falls again into the ocean after getting some symbolic imagery that represents events in the game. Even to this day, I think this cutscene looks good. The cutscene ends with Sora falling deeper and deeper into the dark abyss, until eventually he reaches the bottom, and a flock of doves fly out from under him to reveal an absolutely elegant stainless glass image of Snow White, the best Disney princess. What makes this intro all the more awesome is that it leads directly into the start of the game, trapped in this dark chasm called Dive into the Heart. Sora doesn't know what the heck's going on. Trust me, the way this series goes, you're not alone, kid.
Shut up!
Someone starts speaking to you, though you can't hear them. The only thing you can hear is ominous chanting in the background, and all you can see are these lines of text. You don't know if it's supposed to be God speaking, the game talking, or maybe your own subconscious mind, who knows. Suddenly, these altars start rising from the ground, and you're given a choice. You must choose between a sword, a shield, and a staff. You do get to use these weapons, but only for the tutorial. However, what you choose is still incredibly crucial. The game makes sure you know that too, with these insanely foreboding descriptions of each weapon. A sword of terrible destruction, a staff of wonder and ruin. How am I supposed to choose? Your choice determines what your build will be. Choosing the sword means our build will be more offensive. The shield is for defense, and the staff is for magic builds. I'm a bit torn on this, as I don't like making decisions in games based on very little knowledge. I haven't even gotten to a single fight yet, and you want me to choose how my character is going to play for the rest of the game? But at the same time, I think the mystery of it all adds to the atmosphere. The most primal fear that we have is the fear of the unknown. Did I make the right decisions? How will this affect me in the future? I've got balls, so I'm not going to pick the shield for cowards or the girly magic stick. Real men use swords. But the real kicker is the question the voice asks after you make the decision. Now, what will you give up in exchange? Not only do you have to pick what your biggest strength will be, you'll also have to pick your biggest weakness. And Sora falls again. As we go deeper into the darkness, you might notice that the music is a bit different. Deep male voices are added to the chanting in the background. Now we're face to face with our first enemies of the game, shadows. They're certainly creepy little buggers, but they're kinda cute, I guess. They go down pretty easy though. Sora descends even deeper into the darkness. After a bit more tutorial stuff, we end up walking through a door to leave this place. Or so I thought. While we are outside, we're still in this weird ethereal plane. Again, the music has changed, with the dark piano sounds being more prominent. Also, the disembodied voice in our head wants to get to know us better for some reason. There are some other kids out here, so I guess this is a pretty good time to socialize. Well, that's certainly a conversation starter. The kids ask you 3 different philosophical questions, and upon answering them, the voice will tell you when your journey starts. The time your journey starts is determined by the answers you give for the questions. Similarly to the part we just came from where choosing a weapon determined our character's build, the time your journey starts determines how fast we'll level up. Starting at dawn means you're the type of guy that wants an early start, and as such, you will level up faster at the beginning of the game, but eventually you'll slow down towards the latter half of the game. Starting at midday means you're a pretty average guy, so you'll level up evenly all the way through. And finally, starting at the dead of night means things will be tough in the beginning of the game, but towards the end, you'll start to level up really quickly. To this day, I don't think I've ever seen another game do something like this, where you choose the speed of your level progression. Do you want an easier time in the beginning and just leave it up to future you to deal with the hardship later? Or do you want to challenge yourself earlier on and take it easy once things get more difficult later down the line? Or would you rather just play it safe and go straight down the middle? I decided I would play fair and answer the questions honestly instead of trying to get a specific result.
Nope.
Unfortunately, we're not out of the woods just yet because we're back inside of the Chamber of Darkness. And as we go back in, the ominous chanting starts picking up, turning into full-on battle music. We're surrounded by more of the shadows, but again, not too much trouble. We even get an early level up thanks to my journey starting at dawn. These opulent stained glass stairs appear, and after going up, we get some of the most foreboding dialogue yet. Then our own shadow rises up, turning into a humongous, terrifying monster, and Sora is about to piss his pants. This guy looks tough, but he goes down pretty easily if you avoid his attacks. But if you do get hit, you're in for a world of hurt. One thing I love that this game does is once you defeat a boss, after a few seconds it goes into this slick, slow motion mode that gets increasingly blurrier until you move on to the next scene. Really cool. While we did beat the giant, unfortunately Sora still ends up fading away into the darkness. However, in the next scene, we wake up. It was all a dream. Or was it? In this scene, we're introduced to Sora's friends. Kairi, a pretty cheerful and adventurous young girl, and Riku, the cooler and more ambitious rival to Sora. These kids are all tired of living here on the boring Destiny Islands. They want to go out and explore the outside world. So, they're building a raft to go out to sea. Yeah, a bunch of 14-year-olds going out alone on a raft in the middle of the sea. Sounds like a pretty good idea. It's your job to go out and find the resources you need to head out on your adventure. While you're out looking for materials, you can do other things too, like racing your rival Riku in an obstacle course and challenging the other kids on the island to fights. You could even fight 3 of the kids at once.
Not your day, I guess.
While everything is bright and cheerful, there is some suspicious activity going on. There's a dark cave you can go into, and in it, there's this strange man with the most velvety, smooth voice I've ever heard.
Tied to the darkness, soon to be completely eclipsed. You do not yet know what lies beyond the door.
Huh?
Bless you, Billy Zane. He explains how naive Sora is to the outside world. There's also this strange door in the cave that no one seems to know where it leads. Unfortunately, our hero's plans of leaving are halted when a storm brews late at night. Sora leaves to go check on the raft, leaving his mother behind, and this is when things start going downhill. This isn't just some ordinary storm. There's a huge dark void up in the sky, and the shadow monsters that we saw in our dream have come into reality. To make things worse, our wooden sword can't hurt them. We have absolutely no way to defend ourselves. As a kid, I remember being horrified. My TV had really low brightness too, so the screen was incredibly dark. The only things I could make out were the glowing, beady eyes of the shadow monsters as I desperately tried to find a way out of this mess. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Riku standing on the other side of the bridge, but unfortunately, he doesn't seem to be in his right mind. Riku starts yapping on about how we shouldn't be afraid, and he allows himself to be absorbed by the darkness. But even worse, we start to descend into the abyss. But then, thanks to the light of our legendary weapon, the Keyblade, we're saved from the darkness. And not only that, we can finally start slapping these monsters around. There's a door where that strange cave was, and if we go inside, we see
Kairi!
somehow Kairi disappears and we're blasted out of the cave, only to find the entire island has been ripped apart and fallen into the void. Then we come face to face with the gigantic beast from our dream, Darkseid. Like before, he kinda sucks. But also like before, we aren't able to get away from the darkness, and we too fly into the void. When we finally come to, we awake in Traverse Town, a city trapped in a perpetual state of nighttime. This is the place where refugees whose worlds have been lost to darkness end up. To make matters worse, not even this town is safe from evil, as those shadow monsters appear here too. In RPGs, towns are meant to be your safe haven, a place for you to finally be able to relax and recuperate after hours of dungeon crawling and grinding, but not in Kingdom Hearts. We see a guy running away from something only to have his heart taken from him, and another creature appears. These creatures of darkness are called Heartless, and they feed on the hearts of other people. If your heart is stolen by the Heartless, then you too become a Heartless. In a way, the Heartless are a lot like the modern Romero zombie. They infect others with darkness, slowly adding more and more to their ranks until eventually they reach their ultimate goal, devouring the heart of the world itself, which unfortunately is what happened to Sora's home. While walking out of a shop, this guy catches Sora lacking and attacks him. Given we've got ourselves a sick new weapon, we should be able to defeat this guy pretty. Yeah, the world of Kingdom Hearts is not soft, especially on expert difficulty. Death is a high probability. Fortunately, that was a scripted boss fight that you're supposed to lose. You can actually beat him if you're a pro gamer like me. But I didn't actually get it on camera. The footage got lost somehow, but I did beat Leon. Even if you do win, though, the game still acts as though you lost the fight. It would have been really cool if there was an alternate scene if you won, though. While Leon did clap our cheeks, he's actually one of the good guys. He has a crew consisting of himself, Yuffie, and Aerith, who were looking for the Keyblade Bearer in order to help save the universe. Because yeah, we're the ones who gotta stop all this darkness nonsense. They explain everything about the Heartless I mentioned before. Unfortunately, since we're the Keyblade Bearer, that makes us number 1 on the Heartless's most wanted list. And even if someone else takes the Keyblade, it'll always magically teleport back to us. What this means is basically, we're screwed. We have absolutely no way to escape them. As the Keyblade Bearer, it's up to Sora to defeat the Heartless. But Sora doesn't really care much about all that. All he wants is to find his friends, which is understandable. This is a kid who a few hours ago was planning on playing One Piece with his friends sailing the 7 seas, and now he's told he's gonna be tracked down by eldritch abominations of darkness? Heartless come from the darkness within people's hearts, and there is darkness within every heart. Meaning even if Sora does manage to defeat the Heartless, they will always come back. We meet Donald and Goofy, who are going to help us find our friends by riding aboard their ship, but they have their own agenda.
I wonder if I could find Riku and Kairi.
Of course.
Are you sure?
Who knows? But we need them to come with us to help us find the kid.
As we set out on our adventure, we get one of the best scenes in the game.
That little squirt took down that Heartless. Who'd have thought it?
Such is the power of the Keyblade. The child's strength is not his own.
A group of shadowed figures are plotting evil. These characters, if you couldn't tell, are some of Disney's most iconic villains. Hades, Jafar, Oogie Boogie, and of course, Maleficent. The ones behind this mess are a legion of Disney villains planning to use the Heartless to conquer the universe. This incredibly sinister atmosphere that this game presents in its first 2 hours is fantastic. The Heartless, the universe collapsing, the Disney villains, everything is out to get you, and even your friends aren't exactly empathetic.
That's why they'll keep coming after you, no matter what.
Well, I didn't ask for this.
So, tough luck.
The world feels mysterious and hostile, and this feeling doesn't end after the introduction of the game is over. Some spoilers for the story ahead, but Aerith brings up a guy named Ansem, who apparently has actually done research on the Heartless. Over the course of the game, we find pages of Ansem's research called Ansem's Reports. As the game progresses, the details of Ansem's research becomes darker and more disturbing. At one point, even doing tests on living people and giving human sacrifices to the Heartless for experimentation. You've got Riku's descent deeper and deeper into the darkness, the creepy atmosphere of worlds like Monstro, Halloween Town, and Hollow Bastion, and there's tons of other stuff later in the game that I haven't even talked about. This entire game just has this sense of dread behind the marketable Disney IPs. I like almost all of the other Kingdom Hearts games, But this game, it just has a different vibe to it that always draws me back in. It's the month of Halloween, so I figured I'd talk about a spooky game that isn't a horror game. But that's about all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, there's a whole playlist of videos just like this one on the left side of the screen. If you want to be notified when I post a new video, then click on the subscribe button and the notification bell. If you'd be so kind, click the like button too before you go, as it really helps the channel grow. Thanks guys, remember to brush your teeth and floss, and have a good one.